Well, I talked to our players about the preseason yesterday, and it always depends on how you look at things. We are not done with non-conference games. We still have 3 left, and depending on what you can do in those 3 games, would greatly change your non-league record. The main thing I talked to our players about is that we have gotten better. We have improved. There was a time when we thought we might not win 5 or 6 games the whole year the way we were playing, and so the 8-6, which could very easily be 10-4. You look at the game you gave away at Corpus Christi and the chance we had to win at Mississippi State, and it would look a lot different if it were 10-4. But it is what it is with 3 more non-league games coming up. The main thing that preseason is for is to try and get you ready for league, and hopefully it has done that. Everything amps up when you get to conference play. Your preparation is more extensive. Everybody plays everybody twice. Everybody's geared up and excited to see what they can do in league play. So it's it's a big week this week, starting at home. I've when I've started at home, I've always thought it was better to start on the road. When I've started on the road, I always thought it was better to start at home. So who knows? But there's no question we're trying to find out if we can, number one, be competitive in the WAC, and from there, you hope to get to where maybe you could be a contender. I did tell our kids, our guys, that they are the 4-time defending WAC champion, and that should mean something to them. Somebody's got to take it away from us. We are still, as of right now, 4-time defending WAC champions as far as the regular season goes. So hopefully that means something to our players and fans and everybody involved. But now we'll see what we can do this year, and we're excited about the games coming up. I see 2 teams that are really interesting. Fresno, I'm really impressed with what Rodney Terry's doing there. They're playing really hard. They're confident right now. They thumped Boise last night. They've played Pac-12 teams very close and won 1 game against Pac-12 team. So I just like how hard they're playing, how confident they are. He's instilled some good things in them. And then obviously you get to Nevada, and the team that has all 5 starters back, the pre-league favorite, no question about that. No matter what the media said, the coaches knew that Nevada is a favorite to win this league. So 2 really interesting games coming up, and we better get ready.
How do you feel that the execution? That was one of the things you talked to me about. In your assists are still a little bit down compared to where you have been, but again, some of that's missing shots, close and things. How do you feel your execution offensively has come along?
Well, I think the assists are down when you look at a total, but in the last 4 or 5 games, they've got our assist to turnovers really improved. Danny Berger has helped us passing the ball. He's a good passer. He gives us another guy that can really pass the ball. He's tall enough to pass over people a lot of times. So I think that area has improved, and that's always been a strong area for our program, is taking care of the ball and sharing the ball and those kind of things. Our defense is kind of by committee like everything else, but I don't think we have a bunch of all WAC defenders, but as far as our percentages, we're doing a pretty good job. So that's another thing that's somewhat positive. We always like to try and shoot close to 50. If you do shoot 50, a lot of times you'll lead the country in field goal percentage, and we have actually done that 3 times in a 5-year period, led the entire country in field goal percentage. But we're not at that rate, but we are at a decent rate, second in the WAC right now, I think. But all those stats kind of go out the window because you haven't been playing the same people. The stats I really look at is when you're playing each other about halfway through league, what the stats mean, because you've all played each other once. So the biggest concern, if I had one thing that concerns me more than anything else, is rebounding. We do not have a dominant rebounder. We have to scratch and claw and everybody do their job to have a chance to even break even on the boards. We're not very big. We're not extremely athletic, so we have to scratch and claw to have a chance in a lot of different areas.
Defense. I know at Mississippi State, several of those other riders were really impressed with the defense. You guys played against Mississippi State. Is it just more or less just everybody, the team effort?
Yeah, it's something we've always stressed. Something that's been, you hear the old adage that defense wins championships, and when we've won championships, we've been good defensively. So it's something we believe strongly in, and it's a combination of our man and our zone, and our guys are trying to help each other, and they understand the emphasis, and are doing a pretty solid job. So we'll see if we can continue to do that. Like I said, I'm impressed with how hard and how well Fresno defends. They cause a lot of turnovers. You look at their number of turnovers, and it's really impressive that they are causing. That's an impressive stat for them. So how can we handle their pressure? Are we going to turn it over a bunch? How do we guard them with all their quickness? They're not very big either, but they're very, very quick, and again, are playing very hard. So, Nevada's around the corner, and I've watched a little bit of tape on them, but mostly the focus is on the first one, Fresno State, and then we'll get to Nevada on Friday, Thursday night, whatever.
EJ playing the two-guard spot in the game, is that something you had worked on and figured we're going to see more of that a little bit?
Well, I'm glad you noticed, Lou. You saw him out there with Brock Heath. Yeah.
Or unless Brock Heath was playing too.
No, he wasn't. He just gives us another handler on the floor. That's positive. He's been playing better in practice, which was what he was told. To earn more playing time, you better practice better, and he took that to heart. Adams had a little trouble, quite honestly, his confidence and turning it over and some of those things. And he was playing our backup too, and still will get an opportunity, but he's got to do like everybody's got to do when you're not playing as much. You got to play better. So EJ just gives us a little different look and deserved a chance. One thing it does do for you, you can sub him in and leave him in there a lot longer. And let a guy get his feet wet rather than he's in there 3 minutes and out he comes 4 minutes because Brock Heath goes back in. Now you can get a three-way rotation going, and he gets a few more minutes to hopefully play better.
Earlier you talked about practice habits with this team. Would you say your practice habits are getting better in the way you want them?
Sometimes. That would be my answer to that. It's a team that they listen, and they're good kids and they understand, but sometimes they get out there and they've had a long day, or they're not sure they want to practice as hard as I want them to. But I would say for the most part our practice habits have improved. Are they to the level of last year's team? No. That was an experienced veteran team that knew the value of practice every single day and had won championships as a result. They're not to that level yet, but they have gotten better. And, I tell them all the time, I shouldn't have to beg you to practice hard. I shouldn't have to cuss you out to get you to practice hard. You need to understand the value of that. And they're getting better, making progress.
There's no doubt that a guy who's really made a difference for you is Keyshawn Reed, what he can do. And we see he seems to do things in short amount of time. And it's like, and we've talked about it before, how he needs to be more consistent. But he really has made a difference in your team when he plays.
He's just got to play harder. He's so explosive. Like you say, he can get it going and get some explosive dunks and get some drives to the basket. But he's an undersized post, and what you run up against is guys that are taller, stronger, and to compensate for that, you have to play hard all the time to use your athletic ability. Keyshawn, and this is something he knows. I've talked to him about it. It's nothing. I'm not dogging him when I talk about it. I'm basically just explaining what him and I both understand. He tends to drift out there in practice and in games, and he's not as physical as we need him to be. if he would not drift and get more physical, boy, yeah, he could really be a huge factor. But and he's done some really good things, don't get me wrong. But I look at a guy and I see his potential. I don't just see what he's doing positive. I see not what he is, what he could be. And for him, what he could be is not what he is right now. I'd like him to get to his potential.
What do you feel like your greatest strength going into league play is?
You know, I'm really interested to see how it all sorts out. I think the WAC is a team where you have the favorites, New Mexico State, Nevada #1, New Mexico State #2, and then you have a bunch of other teams that there's a lot of equality, there's a lot of parity, and I think a lot of teams can look at it and say, you know what, we could go 4-10 or we could go 10-4. I think that's the way a lot of WAC teams are. For us right now, we're pretty good at some things. Are we great at anything? No, we're not great at anything, but we're pretty good at some things. And the whole thing for us is to continue to get better through the ups and downs of a conference season. I had an assistant that used to always say, "Oh, none of this stuff matters anyway till we get to the conference tournament. Our league's only going to get one bid anyway." And that was back in the old Big West days. But I've, as you know, never ever felt that way. Every game's important. It's important in the regular season and conference play. That's always meant a lot to me. But that being said, you want to be playing your best basketball in March. And what I told our team yesterday, I thought half of the teams in our league, when we got to the conference tournament last year, were done. Done. They were done. They'd had it, for whatever reason. And there's a lot of things that happen. And the ones that can just keep battling and keep trying to get better and win some games and going into March, be positive and upbeat and still enjoy playing basketball. Those are the ones that have the best chance when you get to a conference tournament. So, and here I am talking like, I always thought the ones that emphasize the conference tournaments were the ones that weren't at the top of the league. Those of us that were fortunate enough to be at the top of the league talked about how important the regular season is. But I really kind of believe both, that I understand the conference tournament might be about one bid, but that guys should play for a lot of weeks in the regular season, not just 1 week like the conference tournament. So it's a matter of how you look at it. But all that being said, you want to be playing good basketball in February and March, so we need to keep improving as we go along.
Do you feel like the hunted again this year? Even though the coaches picked you third, I'm sure it's still feel like you've got a target on your back, so to speak?
No, I don't feel that way. I think we've shown everybody how vulnerable we are. When we lost Brady, obviously it added to our vulnerability. I don't think the teams in the league are looking at us and saying, "Wow, watch out for Utah State." I don't think they're saying that. We got to try and make them say that. Halfway through the league, we got to hope they're saying, "You know what? Yeah, same old Aggies." That's what would be really good for us. But I don't think they view it that way right now.
Do you like being more the underdog, or do you like being more the dominant team?
I like being good enough to be the dominant team really well. That's a good feeling. But there's pressures either way. When you're an underdog, you're trying to show people you're better than they think you are. When you're a dominant team, it's like if you lose a game, we won 30, 27, and 30 the last 3 years. And there was a lot of pressure associated with that. It was like, well, what's wrong? What do you mean, what's wrong? We won 30 games. Come on, man. And now I think everybody's kind of settled into hoping we're going to be okay. And that's good. I think our fans have been a little bit of understanding of our situation for a while. Fans are not overly patient, but our team wants to do well. Every team wants to do well. So, and I feel good about us getting better. we are getting better, and that's good stuff. That's going to help us.
What do you think specifically about like Olakey Bay? Is he just shooting it from the outside? Is he taking the hit to score his points? What's he doing for Fresno?
Yes, he does all that. He's so quick. He shoots threes. He goes by and gets fouled. He's kind of got a green light, and then they're playing a lot of tempo. So he's one guy that really has a green light for them.
And then Wills played a little bit last year, but now he's pretty much a guy who they have to count on. Looks like he's playing pretty solid for him too. To get from transfer from New Mexico.
Yeah, their post guys are like us, a little bit undersized, but boy, very athletic and playing really hard, and they can drive by you. They can face up and shoot. Their fives are kind of like fours, and their fours are kind of like threes. That's the way I see it with their personnel.
So are they playing offensively pretty fast, even though the
No.
total's not?
They'll run it up at you, so you got to get back. Don't get me wrong, but they'll also wind you up, especially on the road. They will wind you up. If you make a mistake while they're winding you up, they'll try and score, but they will wind you up and shorten the game. So that's it's not like playing a team that's just flying up and down on mades and misses and trying to shoot within 10 seconds on the shot clock. Not at all. Very, very patient.
They've had some success on the road too.
They'll come in here with some confidence.
Yeah, they will. They've played well, gotten some wins. Their whole, you can just see the whole level of their team right now is upbeat and confident. When you watch them on tape, watching last night's game, you could see that. They have a good feel for what they're trying to do. They have a good purpose. He's a first-year head coach out of Texas and doing a real nice job. Like I said, I'm impressed with what they're doing.